How can a plus or a minus affect you? I'm Claudia Wills, and I'll have more.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm Sharon McDuffie. Find out what doctors are saying about early detection for young women.
This week on Take 30 Sports, we have the Mississippi State volleyball team taking on the Missouri Tiger in the pivotal SEC matchup. Coming up, don't miss the highlights this week on Take 30 Sports.
It was the first Category 4 hurricane to hit the Florida Panhandle in over 100 years.
I was definitely really nervous. When the pieces of the roof, you could hear them coming off in the wind.
We're covering the aftermath of Hurricane Michael, those who ran from it and those who ran to it.
Just seeing and hearing the roof of our hotel being ripped off was something I've never experienced before.
As thousands of people evacuated the Florida Panhandle to avoid Hurricane Michael, one group of local residents ran into the storm. Good afternoon, I'm Luke Lutz.
And I'm Brock St. Clair. Take 30's Cash Matlock sat down with students from Mississippi State's Broadcast Meteorology Department to find out why. Cash?
Crazy, scary, devastating, and life-changing. These are the words that a group of meteorology students from MSU are using to describe their experience with Hurricane Michael.
Yeah, I've never witnessed anything like that before in my life. Like, it was actually just the winds were crazy. Like, I've never seen anything before like it in my life.
Well, a group of 4 meteorology students from Mississippi State University planned an unsponsored trip to Marianna, Florida to get a closer look at Hurricane Michael. But what they thought would be just another trip quickly turned into one they'll never forget.
It looked to be kind of a low-grade system at first. We might be able to go down there and get some experience being inside of a hurricane, and then by midweek it was a Category 4 storm, and we were already on our way down there.
The intensity was definitely a lot higher than what was anticipated.
The storm chasers started to second-guess their decision when the storm hit the roof of their hotel.
The roof partially blew off the hotel, and that was a moment where we were like, okay, this might not be something we should have done.
Just seeing and hearing the roof of our hotel being ripped off was something I've never experienced before. Just the sounds and the emotions were crazy.
I was definitely really nervous. When the pieces of the roof, you could hear them coming off in the wind, and the wind was blowing water under the door too, stuff like that.
Meteorology major Jake Eschpeter says the experience reminds him of previous storms like Hurricane Katrina.
And like, I've been through hurricanes before, and like, I went through Katrina at a young age, so like, I knew the destruction that was occurring around me. And that it didn't really hit me until after the storm passed. But that kind of hit home. Although their trip wasn't as pleasant as they imagined it to be, the group says what they experienced was worth it.
It was really a learning experience that, that I'm definitely going to take with me throughout my major.
It was a lot, it was a good experience for me, I think, to kind of see that these are actual people being affected by this storm, and that's something that we can all work on to think about in the future.
The group says it's also important to know that it's not just the coastline that's affected by the storm. Damage can be traced back over 100 miles inland. Brock?
Thank you, Cash. The trip to Marianna was not sponsored by MSU. The group says they planned the trip originally when it was a low-grade system so they could get some hands-on experience and boost their resume. In Florida, rescuers are still finding dead bodies among the debris. A week after the hurricane slammed the Florida Panhandle, the death toll is at 29 and likely rising. According to authorities, Michael has killed at least 32 people across Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia. Of those, 15 are in Florida's Bay County, where the hurricane made landfall last week as a Category 4 storm. CNN is reporting that authorities fear some people who did not evacuate could be buried beneath piles of concrete, wood, and mangled metal in Florida. The Florida Department of Health created an online form to report those who are still missing. CNN reports the exact number of the missing is unknown. Electricity and phone services are being gradually restored across the Panhandle. It's the second leading cause of cancer-related death for women in the U.S. That's why October is set aside for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Take 30's Sharon McDuffie is here with a survivor story and tips on how to do a self-examination. Sharon?
Brock, according to Young Survivor Coalition, there is no effective breast cancer screening tool yet for women under 40. Nearly 80% of young women diagnosed with breast cancer find their lumps themselves. That's why experts are saying learning how to self-diagnose is so important. Imagine combing through your hair and clumps of it falling out. That was the reality for Kathleen Jackson after going through 4 rounds of chemo.
I was bald-headed. I went to church, and all my hair come out. I reached up one day and I took a handful of hair out my head, and I threw it away. I just threw it down, threw it away. The next day, I reached up there and the other come out. So I went on. I still was going on. I went on to church in different places.
God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, according to Kathleen Jackson. She was helping her husband get through his battle of lung cancer when she found a lump in her breast.
He was diagnosed with cancer. He wasn't really diagnosed, but he went to the doctor, and the doctor found that he had lung cancer. So I didn't tell nobody. I was going to the doctor after the lump in my breast, but I didn't tell nobody. You know, they removed my breast. They were going to remove both of them. Then my cancer doctor, she got a name out. I forgot what you know. But then my oncologist, she didn't want to do two at one time because she didn't feel that I was strong enough to have both of them removed at one time. So other people that were going through the same thing I was going through with cancer, and they didn't make it. And that was it wasn't really discouraging to me, but I just held on. My grandchildren come, they what you cook, and then when we in church, they be working their mouth and saying, "Did you cook?" You know, today. But I'm thankful to God.
Miss Jackson says she's enjoying life and not worried about the things she has no control over. Experts say women can look for a change in the look and feel of the nipple or even nipple discharge. When performing a self-exam, you want to do this while looking in the mirror. The first thing you want to do is place both of your hands at your side and just look at your breast. Then you want to raise one of your arms up and take your other hand and just feel around the breast. You want to be pressing in. You also want to give the nipple a squeeze. You want to also do the next breast. Then after you do the next breast, you want to place both of your hands at your side and flex your chest muscles. You're looking for any irritation of the skin or dimpling of the skin. You're probably wondering, what is the goal here? The goal is to be familiar with your breast, so at any time when you're doing these exams and you do feel anything, you know that that wasn't there before. Experts say between the ages of 20 and 39, women should have a clinical breast examination by a health professional every 3 years. After the age 40, women should have a breast exam by a health professional every year.
Thank you, Sharon. The city of Starkville will soon be replacing major infrastructure in several neighborhoods. The Board of Aldermen accepted a bid from Louisville-based 4D Construction, according to the dispatch. The neighborhoods include Pecan Acres, Green Oaks, and Rolling Hills. This plan includes a complete replacement of both water and sewage infrastructure. Ward 4 Alderman Jason Walker has said the next step is a meeting with the Pecan Acres community to talk details with the residents.
Ticked off by taxes, some people in the Golden Triangle say they were surprised when they received a notice from the state saying they'd have to pay a new tax. According to the dispatch, this tax impacts roughly 14,000 hybrid car drivers who'll have to pay $75, while electric car drivers will have to pay $150 every year when they renew their tags. The money will go towards the state's Emergency Road and Bridge Fund. The tax is meant to balance the weight of the 18 per gallon gas tax drivers pay at the pump. The measure earned near unanimous support in August. A new way to grade, why major changes could be coming to MSU's grading system. After the break.
A baby's arrival can be one of the most exciting times in a family's life. It can also be one of the most anxious, especially if the child's development is hindered by medical challenges that create more questions than answers. At Mississippi State University, we're groundbreakers in the study of CHARGE syndrome, a genetic condition that leads to a host of life-threatening birth defects. Our research teams are uncovering breakthroughs in treatment and prevention with a goal of greater understanding that leads to better care. We're also providing crucial support resources for parents and helping physicians around the globe gain awareness so symptoms can be detected and addressed earlier. By engaging in this innovative analysis and therapy, we're not only improving outcomes, we're unlocking brighter futures.
Welcome back. A new way to grade. Big changes could be coming to MSU students and faculty, as the Students Affairs Committee recommended the university switch to a plus-minus grading system.
This means instead of getting a B or an A, students might receive an A- or a B+. It's designed to help students, but as Take 30's Claudia Wells shows us, people are divided on this issue.
With several students, and there were split opinions on the plus-minus grading system.
Honestly, everyone's like really opposed to it, or I've heard a lot of people speak negatively about it, but like, I don't think it's that bad because you have a lower, like, you have a chance to make your chance to make a D is bigger. I don't think it's that bad.
I feel like I don't see too many advantages to the change in the system, but I see a lot of disadvantages. One of them being, I don't know, it just lowers GPA. Just, I don't feel like that's fair to most students trying to up the GPA for whatever reason in grad school. I just don't see it upside.
Students aren't the only ones that do not agree on the issue. Only 35% of the MSU faculty voted in an online poll. Even people in favor of the system do not agree with it entirely.
Serious reservations about A+, and I have very serious reservations about F+. I think F+ is meaningless. I think it's a ridiculous waste of time. It's one more box to check for nothing. They're getting no credit, zero.
For Take 30 News, I am Claudia Wells.
If approved, the new grading system will have a 2-year trial period where students' GPAs will not be affected. The message from IT experts: hacking happens here too. How to protect your information after the break.
Welcome back. It's been a rainy week in and around Starkville. The student meteorologists at MSU Campus Connect say there's a chance for more rain this weekend. Friday looks like our warmest day with a high of 76. Expect highs in the mid-60s this weekend. Remember, you can always get an updated forecast by visiting weather.msstate.edu. If you're spending a little less on Halloween this year, you're not alone. The National Retail Federation says Americans are expected to spend almost $9 billion on Halloween this year. That's down from last year's $9.1 billion. The Federation says folks will spend $2.6 billion on candy alone. The biggest costumes of the year are expected to be princesses or superheroes for children, witches and vampires for adults, and pumpkins and hot dogs for our pets. The Federation says they surveyed nearly 7,000 consumers. And if you're trying to stay healthy this Halloween, the MSU Extension Service has some tips and tricks. They recommend freezing leftover candy. Be sure to put it in an airtight container like a zip-top bag. You can also donate the candy to local shelters or share it with the community. If you hand out healthier treats this Halloween, some alternatives are individual bags of pretzels, goldfish, popcorn, or small toys.
What if you spent your entire life living in one country and had to quickly adjust by moving to another? Check out how one international student made these adjustments and created a website to inspire others.
You ran into Obina Moore, you would know that he is not from around here. This junior chemical engineering major takes pride for his new school here at MSU. But that isn't all that is new for him. After living in the Bennett Republic for 20 years, coming to the States was the next chapter of his life.
My uncle was like, okay, what about America? Take a look at it, because his daughter, which is my cousin, actually went to school in Florida, and now she lives in Florida. So he was like, check it out. So that was how I kind of looked into America. And to be honest, this is the best choice of my life.
And this is how Mississippi State fell into his lap.
Through the organization called Phi Theta Kappa. So I became a chapter president on my campus, and then through that motivation and leadership role, I really saw that I could do better, I could do more through my advisors as well. So I ran for the international vice president, and then they decided to invite us. Mississippi State recruiters invited all the international officers to come here. So when I came here, just stepped my foot on the campus, it was just like a holy ground. I really love this place.
I am standing in the building where Obinna spends a lot of his time. This is one of the classrooms of Swamp Chemical Engineering building. And Obinna says that he's here all the time studying, sometimes all the way up till midnight. When it came to getting acclimated to the new changes of his life, he realized this important thing.
You can really achieve anything, even something that is not even close to your major, because I'm a chemical engineer and now, motivational speaking, like there is no connection at all. The only connection is being able to speak, which is probably very needed in my major, because most of the time when you talk about chemical engineering, they think it's people that just work in a lab.
A direction that led him to this.
I have a website called getinspiredtoday.com, and basically I created this website on my own, and being able to share my story has been a big thing for me, and that was what inspired me to really start up my website. But my biggest platform is on Facebook, but I actually connected it a little bit more to YouTube, so I have a YouTube channel now, and just trying to really create a bigger platform for myself, and just at the end of the day, I'm not looking for the fame, I'm just looking to give hope to people.
When it comes to his inspiring story, this is what he wants to share with others.
Anything is possible. If you're willing to put yourself out there, work hard, push yourself. You gotta push yourself, you gotta do the work. If you need the blessings, you have to do the work.
In Starkville, Mississippi, Sydney Moore, Take 30 News.
Hail State.
You can visit Obinna's website at www.getinspiredtoday.com. Be sure to stick with us. Take 30 Sports after the break.
We all depend on accurate weather forecasts to plan our day. That's why Mississippi State University is teaching students to forecast the future using real-world news sets as classrooms, putting scientific discoveries in meteorology to the test, while honing on-air reporting skills real-time with local TV stations. And we do it so well that at any given moment across the country, 1 in 3 weather forecasts are being delivered by MSU-trained meteorologists who are helping people make crucial decisions that impact their safety, working to ensure business continuity, and in many cases, saving lives. Predicting the future? That's what we're preparing for every single day so that you can prepare for your day.
Welcome to Take 30 Sports. I'm Robin Herron. In her first season as Mississippi State head volleyball coach, Julie Darty and the rest of the Bulldogs haven't had the season they were looking for. Last Sunday, they got a chance to change that against a strong SEC opponent. This past Sunday, the Bulldogs welcomed the Missouri Tigers to Noel Gresham for an SEC showdown. The Tigers came in looking to pick up an important SEC road win in a tough environment. An environment the Tigers had no problem playing in. Missouri jumped out ahead to win the first 2 sets with a score of 25-14. In the third set, the Bulldogs showed much heart, but would also struggle finding their way. Now, one would think, since Mississippi State was playing here on their home court, that they would take advantage of the crowd. but the Missouri Tigers neutralized that from the start. After a quick 3-0 match, the Mississippi State Bulldogs fall to the Missouri Tigers in a key SEC match. I caught up with one of the players after the match to get her thoughts on the game.
We were trying to take advantage of setting the middles in transition and getting teams out of system with our serve and service pressure, and basically working on our pin-to-pin block, because sometimes we leave a lot of seams, so we're working on that. Some of the lessons that we can take from this game is being consistent in our play. We can't have all these ups and downs. I feel like we just have to be consistent, play consistent at Bulldog volleyball, you know, and going into these next couple of matches, we have better matchups, and I think that we really capitalize and get some wins under our belt.
The Bulldogs fall to 5-15 overall and just 1-6 in the conference. Out of the last 10 games, the Bulldogs' long win came in a 5-set thriller against the Auburn Tigers. Now, as you heard Ms. Cook say, the Bulldogs are looking to capitalize and take advantage of some of the matchups they have in the coming game. Tonight, the Bulldogs will face the Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa for a 6 o'clock start time. The game will be aired on ESPNU. Your MSU Bulldogs travel to Baton Rouge, Louisiana this Saturday for a top 25 matchup with the LSU Tigers. The game is expected to be a bruiser that will be won at the line of scrimmage. The weather should be beautiful with highs in the low 70s, dipping to the 60s for kickoff. The game will be broadcast on ESPN at 6 p.m. The Mississippi State women's basketball team was selected by the SEC media members to finish first in the SEC. They also selected Ole Miss to finish last in the conference. Media members selected senior post player Tiara McCowan as preseason player of the year. Graduate transfer Amrielle Howard was also elected to preseason All-SEC team. The women's basketball team hosts Central Missouri at 6 p.m. November 2nd in the Hump. That's all we have for Take 30 Sports. Luke and Brock will be back after the break.
You know the scene in those popular TV crime shows when the investigators show up? The one where they scratch their heads while trying to figure out who committed the homicide and when? At Mississippi State University, we're solving mysteries behind real-life crime scenes with forensic research that's a first of its kind. Teaming with microbiologists from around the country, we're examining microscopic bacteria that can help solve real murders. So far, our partnership with a major metropolitan medical examiner is yielding results with more than 200 real-life crime samples analyzed. We're learning how microbiomes change and relocate, uncovering evidence in criminal investigations by better pinpointing time of death. Way more exciting than being a TV detective. We're finding crucial answers when they're needed most. Solving mysteries with science, that's worth watching.
Welcome back. Mississippi State University's Information Technology Service is hosting Cybersecurity Week. They say the goal is to raise awareness of cyber threats such as hacking. Take 30's Courtney Alston has the story.
Thomas H. Ritter says over the past semesters, Mississippi State University has experienced an overwhelming amount of account hacking through emails, banner, and even through the direct deposit that students receive their financial aid.
The reality is that we have a large number of students and some staff who get phished. Probably on the order of 10% of the people who get one of these phishing email messages will actually click through and give away information. Some very urgent message that you have to respond to. When you click on the link, it will often bring up an exact duplicate of Mississippi State's webpage, and they then steal your username and password. We've had hackers log in and steal people's paychecks. We've had hackers log in and steal students' financial aid funds. Okay, 1 month last semester, I guess last year, where we had over 300 people get broken into.
There are many ways to protect yourself from hackers. Like, try not to use easily available information like your birthday or your mother's name as your passwords. But how can you tell the difference between a real email and a hacker's email?
Bad English, urgency, trying to get you to click somewhere, all of those are flags that make you go off, your bells go off, and you just need to be aware. So it's very much a user awareness issue. And always forward a message like that to the help desk, to the service desk at Mississippi State.
For Take 30 News, Courtney Alston.
To cut down on the hacking, the university will soon require two-factor authentication when students log into university accounts. This takes place in the spring of 2019.
I don't know if you've gotten any, but I've gotten several phishing emails through my university account that have been really freaking me out.
I haven't received a single one. What are they about?
I got one that was like, I hacked your MS State account. Like, I'm gonna leak all this information to like your friends and family if you don't, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of scary stuff.
I heard someone asking, they talked about the email and they said that they were asking for money from the students.
Oh, that's what they do?
Threatening the students, yeah. No.
Genuinely scary.
Yeah.
But
okay,
anyway.
Well, that's all the time we got for tonight. I'm Luke Lutz.
And I'm Brock St. Clair. As always, thank you for watching. And remember, you can catch our Thursday crew tomorrow at 4.